Welcome to Homefront on County Cable Montgomery, a program of the Montgomery County Commission on Veterans Affairs. Homefront takes you inside the stories of Montgomery County's veterans, active duty service members, their families, and the services available to them in Montgomery County. I'm Mike Subin, and I'm proudly representing the Commission on Veterans Affairs today. One of the greatest advances in the treatment of post-traumatic stress, or PTS, has been the use of animal-assisted therapy to promote the healing process. Today we're going to talk about a program based here in Montgomery County that has helped thousands of veterans since it was founded a decade ago, Warrior Canine Connection. WCC raises, trains, and gives canines to veterans suffering PTS to assist those in need of a mobility service dog. With me today is Rick Yount, the founder and executive director of Warrior Canine Connection, and the star of our program, Clifford, a 6-month-old pure golden retriever. Rick is a licensed social worker with an MS in assistance dog education. Rick, welcome, and thanks for coming here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing Clifford.
Thanks for having us. We're thrilled to be here.
We've had some great guests so far, but Clifford has got to go to the top of the list. Rick, you've created an amazing program. Can you tell us what it's all about?
Well, it's the Warrior Canine Connection really is based on combining two very powerful forces. One is the healing power of the human-animal bond with dogs like Clifford here, and then coupling that with the warrior ethos, that sense of commitment to taking care of your own, and doing whatever it takes to take care of brothers and sisters in arms.
Now, how did you get started with this program?
Well, it kind of started. It started with one of these guys, actually.
That would be easy to do.
Well, I fell prey to a 4-month-old little red golden like this 20-some years ago, and as a social worker at the time, I was convinced by the look he was giving me at the door that he was going to die if I didn't take him to work, and that's how it began. I was suckered into that.
Obviously, folks, Rick is a softie for dogs. So what motivated you to get into this angle in the therapy?
Well, as a social worker at the time, working with very traumatized children, I immediately saw what a dog like Clifford here could do in lessening the trauma that the kids were enduring. And it was very refreshing to have something at my disposal that actually worked, to be honest. There's no denying it when you see it. These dogs are incredible healers when it's the right dog and they're used in a way that's helpful.
Well, obviously, he's got some capabilities of keeping folks calm because he's fallen asleep on the set here. I hope it's because we're not too boring.
Well, we actually breed our own dogs. We breed Goldens and Labs for this type of temperament. I describe them as dogs that maybe aren't from Newark, New Jersey, but are more of the...
Wait a minute. What's wrong with Newark, New Jersey?
Nothing. If you're looking for a scent detection dog or a dog, a military working dog, but for these dogs that a veteran who might be in a power wheelchair with a spinal cord injury, they need a dog that's very low aroused, very laid back. They need the dogs from southern Mississippi with a little bit of Forrest Gump in them.
And obviously, Clifford's going down that road.
He is going down that road.
So what are your training protocols? What are the qualifications, the canines that you're looking at to qualify them to be mobility service dogs?
Well, health is number one. Our breeding program, we focus on healthy dogs. We go back generation after generation looking at hips and elbows and eyes and hearts. And in addition to the health aspect, the temperament is key. We want dogs that not only going to live a long time and a healthy life, but have a willingness and a desire to serve, and dogs that are comfortable being out in places like this.
Okay. So you breed your own dogs. You don't go looking from other breeders. You get, and their puppies and their litters, you do the actual breeding.
Yes, we do the actual breeding. We do work with other breeders and cooperatives within the working dog field. So we're always trying to enhance and improve our lines.
Do you use one sire or two? Do you have your favorites in terms of what you're looking for and just keep breeding down that line?
Well, actually, we have multiple sires, and again, looking back at many generations, there's so much that goes into it. And this sire would be a good match to balance out this female. So it's really, I've often joke about we use D harmony instead of E harmony. Their profiles have to match.
So do you have your own geneticist on staff and veterinarian who's capable of looking at those genetics?
We get a lot of support from the Olney Sandy Spring Veterinary Clinic, and Dr. Joey Gregory, who is a reproduction specialist veterinarian, has been incredibly helpful in working with our dog program director.
So what you're saying is this is a pretty complicated endeavor to get the dogs that you need trained the way you need them to, and to the right people to assist.
It's very complicated and extremely important. The dog is one of the very key variables to the success of our program. It's just it's a key variable to the success of our program. We're working with veterans and trying to provide them with the best possible service dogs that we can generate. I can't think of any population that deserves the Rolls Royce of service dogs.
How does one, as a veteran with PTS and a need to have a mobility service dog, how do they get to you? How do you then choose who is going to be the one to get Clifford?
Well, veterans can apply through our website and submit an application, and we have our team that reviews the application, schedules interviews, assess the needs of the veteran, and then look at the dogs that we have available, look at their skills and their personalities. And there really is a need to match the personality of the veteran with the personality of the dog. The sad news here is that we have several hundred veterans who are in the waiting list to get a dog. The need is far outweighing the supply. So that's our efforts are now to scale up our operations here so that we can cut that waiting list down.
How many dogs do you place a year?
Last year we graduated 19 dogs, and we're hoping to graduate a similar number again this year in the fall, and increase that number in the years to come.
So do you get to that number based on what you believe are the best practices and the number of dogs you can do in a year according to that? Or is there a supply and demand number that you're looking at?
Oh, it's much more complex than just a supply and demand number. It's, again, it's having the right dogs, the right temperament, the right matches with those veterans. And the veterans themselves have to go through a training process to learn how to bond and understand these dogs and their psychology, and how to work with them as a partner.
So I think one of the things that we might want to assure our viewers with is this is not a puppy mill. This is a very carefully selective program to make sure that the quality of the dog that you're giving to a veteran is as high as it can be.
Absolutely. We take this very seriously. We've been highlighted several times at the Westminster Kennel Club show, and really I think we serve as industry leaders, and really working diligently to make sure our dogs are of the greatest quality and taken care of as much as they deserve.
How long does it take to train a dog to qualify?
It takes these guys about 2 years on average to get to the point where they can be placed. What we've achieved, though, is we don't have to wait for 2 years for this dog to serve a veteran. The program that I developed incorporates veterans who are dealing with post-traumatic stress and helps their symptoms by having them involved in learning how to train our dogs for other veterans. So that 2 years it takes to train Clifford can be of value to many veterans who can participate in helping to train him under our guidance.
And who cares for Clifford while he's training before he's placed?
We have amazing volunteers. We call them puppy parents that will come to training weekly and take the dogs in at about 8 to 9 weeks and then bring the dog to training weekly, sometimes dropping the dogs off to work with veterans at different sites as well.
Well, I'm going to just go for the sake of transparency. Rick asked me to take a dog and foster the dog. And I said, well, Rick, I'm willing to do that if at the end of the year that dog stays with me. And he said, nope. I would have just a difficult time giving that dog up after 2 years, especially when it chilled out as Clifford.
The last thing we want to do is traumatize volunteers. Hey, Cliff.
Clifford doesn't seem to be upset about being on camera at all. Suicide. Suicide, Rick, is prevalent among veterans more so than in the general population. We had a guest last week, a super young lady, a high school student, who has a program and teaches young people, middle schoolers, how to be able to help friends, family, look for signs that somebody may be suicidal ideations. Can these service dogs help reduce the chances of suicide among those with PTS?
You know, absolutely. It's one of the driving reasons that we do what we do. You know, isolation is contributing to suicide. You know, veterans who are staying home and not going out in public and just bunkering down in their homes. You know, when you are responsible or involved in helping to train one of these dogs, you have to take the dogs out in public. And when you take one of these dogs out in public, good luck isolating. It's not going to happen. There's no way that you're not going to be talking to multiple people. So the dogs are just a natural social, a natural social lubricant. They just create social interactions just by their presence. And you know, with our program, the fact that veterans with PTSD are training service dogs for fellow vets, it's a mission. It's a true sense of purpose, and you know, I think that's a key. You know,
so that for those who are facing isolation, our friends like Clifford help assist them to get out in public, not be isolated anymore, and be able to deal with people.
Yeah,
and that's fantastic. Rick, there's so much more we could talk about, but we're out of time. I want to thank our guest, Rick Yount, Executive Director of Canine Warrior Connection, and especially for bringing Clifford, who will be assisting a veteran in about 2 years. We salute you for your efforts, and hope that other people are inspired to join your efforts. I'm Mike Subin. Thanks for joining us. This was Today on Homefront.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls: 311. MC 311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7